Crypto Kids, things look like it's going to get worse. Let's take a look at the charts and understand what conditions need to be met for that statement to be true. Bitcoin is trying to break below its support line of the bear flag. It tried to go up, but it showed despair, it showed a lack of strength and momentum, came back to the support line of the bear flag. The more times you get punched, what happens? You feel more and more dizzy. That's what support and resistance does too. The more times you hit support, the weaker it becomes, and eventually it gets knocked out. If we can see a daily candle closure above the support line here of the bear flag, then unfortunately I anticipate the mid 50s, 57 is a good place for Bitcoin to come down to. Can we still get a relief rally into the 80s? I honestly believe it's all dependent on what takes place geopolitically, which we will dive into shortly. But from the looks of it, at least from a technical point of view, we saw a bear flag just a few months ago, November to Jan. It lasted. It got a breakdown on the daily candle, consolidated a little, got a retest, and boom, down went the price of Bitcoin. When we compare the current structure to prior market cycle, at this point, you know that it's basically the exact same story. You get a bearish divergence, a double top leading into a bear flag, which leads into another bear flag, and Bitcoin goes down. It's what took place in 2021 to 2022. Bearish divergence, double top, leads into a bear flag, leads into another bear flag, down goes Bitcoin. I would be more on the cautious sides, and if we get this daily confirmation, then I will increase my short hedge position and continue waiting for lower levels to add to my Bitcoin accumulation. And if you're looking for a place to be adding to your shorts, or in fact doing small DCAs into Bitcoin, I'm going to be DCAing until October. That's what I've been stating for many weeks now. I think the bottom will take place closer towards September, October. Could 60K have been the bottom? There's a very small chance, but honestly, if we confirm this daily breakdown and we continue sliding further lower, then 60K should be taken out quite easily. The link to Lemex is down in the description if you want to be adding to positions. BTCC is available if you want to get access to traditional financial markets. Alongside Bitcoin being bearish, we also stated that the S&P 500 is very bearish too. It got quite a lot of hate. The S&P wiped out, I think this is $1 trillion just 24 hours ago. We spoke about the S&P going ahead and following Bitcoin. We mentioned that Bitcoin topped out first, and there's a delay between Bitcoin and the S&P, and that the S&P will follow. I've not gotten the best comments. This was on February the 25th. The S&P is now officially following that. Can the S&P see a rebound? Again, it's a probability, but on the lower end, it all depends upon what happens with geopolitical conflicts. Oil was pumping early in the intraday over on Thursday because President Trump said that he doesn't know if they're willing to make a deal with Iran. We're seeing something different from President Trump's sides daily, so oil is seeing a lot of volatility. But following that increase, you got a huge crash. On the 15-minute candle, oil fell from $93 down by 5% and recovered again because there was a new post from President Trump's side where he shared, as per Iranian government requests, please let this statement serve to represent that I'm pausing the period of energy plan destruction by another 10 days to Monday, April the 6th, 2026. So we're looking at not Monday next week, but the week after. So President Trump said earlier on in the same day that they don't know if they're willing to work a deal with Iran, and then said that the negotiation is going well. So I don't know. At this point, I honestly have no idea what's going to end up happening. I prefer being pessimistic. I prefer being cautious because if you're cautious in uncertain environments, then at least you reduce the loss of your capital. Gas prices have hit $4 in America. It's going up all across the world. President Trump stated that Iran has gifted the US with 8 boats full of oil. Bloomberg was not able to track those 8 boats, but giving America the benefit of the doubt, currently it's very hard to track vessels with their transponders off. So that gift could have been delivered. Maybe the transponders are off. I'm analyzing this just to see and pinpoint whether if geopolitical escalations can come to an end or it doesn't come to an end. Nobody knows. Oil prices are going up. We know that the bonds, the 30-year bonds are getting the 10-year treasuries, the 30-year treasuries, the 2-year treasuries. They're pointing towards higher yields. If the market is pricing in higher yields, then they're also pricing in worse geopolitical tensions. But I'm praying daily so that everything comes to an end as soon as possible. One, for the benefit of mankind, and most importantly, the benefit of mankind. And secondly, because we do market analysis for the markets too. If we see the ending of geopolitical tensions, risk on markets will ease and risk off markets will go to the downside. So there's an inverse correlation. Praying that this thing comes to an end as soon as possible. But purely from the data that I see in front of me, it does look like it may last a little bit longer. US mortgage rates have jumped for 4 weeks straight, reaching the highest point in 6 months. The mortgage rates, they follow the 30-year bond. The 30-year bond is at 5%. So at a 5% bond, mortgage rates are also going to go up. Real estate represents 15 to 18% of the American economy. And if yields are increasing, then mortgage rates will still higher. If mortgage rates are high, then there's going to be no real estate transactions, and that's going to impact the economy in a negative way. 4.976%. Ridiculous. Ridiculous, ridiculous numbers. But at least we're getting some good news for Bitcoiners in general. Maybe the market is down, fine, but fundamentally we're building good cemented foundations. In the last cycle, when Bitcoin was at 67K, we didn't have the ability to put a down payment using Bitcoin or USDC. You're putting a down payment, collateralizing your financing for your house. Now you can do it with Bitcoin or USDC coin, officially with Fannie and Mae that control around 10 to 11 trillion dollars of real estate. It's a huge institution. So they have made it official that now you can buy housing in America using Bitcoin and USDC as collateral. That's big time. And I think it's a timely news. They want to make sure that the real estate market doesn't die off fully. So they're trying to find ways that people can continue to buy real estate. And I think targeting the crypto people that have money and more money compared to a lot of other individuals, statistically speaking, it's a good incentive. And I think for the long run, it will boost the will to hold your Bitcoin and not sell your Bitcoin. If you wanted to diversify during the bull market euphoria, which will arrive at some point in the future, instead of selling, you can just put up your Bitcoin as collateral, as down payment, and boom, finance your house. And it won't matter if the price of Bitcoin goes down. They look at the Bitcoin cost at the time of you depositing for collateral. If Bitcoin goes to $1 million tomorrow morning, after you've put it as collateral, the Bitcoin is still yours. The Bitcoin is still yours to decide if you want to refinance in another way. You can take your Bitcoin out. It will not be in your custody. It will be in a third-party custody. So if they get hacked or if something happens, then you lose your Bitcoin. That's the risk, but it could be managed because you'll be able to diversify into a bunch of real estate assets and get an income, a passive income. So I think it's an interesting approach overall. Countries, they're selling Bitcoin. Bhutan has bought so much Bitcoin, close to 15,000 Bitcoin. Their Bitcoin holdings peaked in October of 2024, and since then they've been selling. They sold roughly about expectedly $66 million of Bitcoin in 1 week alone. And even the previously second largest Bitcoin holder in the world, Mara, the miner, they decided to sell $1 billion of Bitcoin to buy back its zero coupon convertible. Upsetting. Even whales are selling. So how can we expect prices to go to the upside? The support line is what is critical, guys. I think the market will bounce eventually. I can't tell you when we're going to get altcoin season, but in my lifetime, I am a strong believer that we will get altcoin season. I actually quite like how Brazilian stocks are looking like they're breaking off of a huge downturn and they're getting a retest to this prior resistance. So I think, funnily enough, Brazilian stocks look good. And commodities like silver and gold, I am quite bearish on. I think silver will correct to the 50s. Gold will potentially correct more too. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your Friday. Going to be streaming on the Moon Show channel later on tonight. And if you want to be trading those commodities, you can head to BTCC using the second link in the description down below. Thank you for watching. And as always, bye-bye.